So we're going to get started here. Let me share my screen. Hopefully all of you can see my agenda. Amy Robinson, can you tell me if it's my agenda up or my Teams?
Your agenda is up.
Perfect. All right, so welcome. This is our monthly records management chat for county local agencies. My name is Amy Christiansen. I am your county local records management liaison. And we do these on a monthly basis, the last Wednesday of the month at 11 a.m. We are recording this chat, so please remain muted and videos off if possible. Let me let some people into the lobby. Okay, sorry, I only have one screen today. What was that? Oh. Mute all. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so I wanted to welcome back Amy Robinson. Woo, she's been on vacation and to the great state of California. So we missed you. Hope you had a good vacation.
I brought you swag. You know that's the important part.
That is the important part.
I went to Comic-Con. I brought home Canadian chocolate, as you do.
Yeah. So Amy is our state records analyst, technically. So she handles all state agencies, whereas I handle county local. I don't know if there's anyone else from IARA on the call. Let me look.
Not logged in yet.
Okay, perfect. That's Amy and I are here. All right, so announcements. Just wanted to remind everyone that in June, we did make changes to the notice of destruction form and updated the procedures for that. So the big major changes are that you no longer have to wait the 30 days for destruction, and you no longer have to send your form in to get approved by IARA. So you as records custodians are responsible for double checking your forms, making sure that the retention period matches the date of your records. So if you have records that can be destroyed after 6 years, but your date says the records are from 2020, well, it hasn't been 6 years because that would be 2026. So just make sure that all your dates and retention periods match up. Of course, I am always available to double check your forms for you. So just email me your form and I can let you know if everything looks good or not. I was going to show you. So here is the updated form. You'll know it's the most updated version because it says revision 9, R9, and 6-22. So it was revised. It was the 9th revision, revised on June 22nd. So the instructions are updated slightly and a few things on the form, but nothing major except for what I already told you about the no 30-day waiting period and no submitting to IARA for approval, which those are the two major changes. But instruction-wise, it's still very much the same. So just follow the instructions and reach out to me if you have any problems. And then I did want to remind you that in September, I'm taking a break from traveling. So if you do need me for anything in September, I won't necessarily be able to drive to you, but I will be available through email, telephone, and then I can also do Zoom or Teams meetings if you want to see me virtually like you do during these chats. I will resume my traveling in October. So if you would like to get on, I do have a short wait list. So if you'd like to get on that wait list for me to come see you in person, maybe to show me your records storage room or to discuss whatever with your records, let me know, send me an email, and I'll get you on my list for the winter time. All right. Does anybody have any questions before I go over the bulletin? Feel free to unmute yourself or let me know. All right. Well, if there are no questions, I will go over the July monthly bulletin. So here is the monthly bulletin I sent out for July. Last month in June, we met on the 29th at 11. We had 15 records custodians attend, as well as myself, Amy Robinson, and Kim Haggerty with the State Microfilm and Imaging Lab. Our June topic was the Notice of Destruction updates, so that's why I mentioned those again. And if you would like to see the chat from last month, if you click on this link, it'll take you to our YouTube page. And if I hit play, you'll get to hear my lovely voice again. But you can watch our entire chat on our YouTube page there. As well as, let's see, if I click on that, it'll take you to all of our previous bulletins and chat videos that I've done. I used to do weekly bulletins, now it's just monthly, but you can see these are all weekly, and you can also see our recorded videos dispersed between them. All right, news you can use. Let me let people in. Okay. So we, and when I say we, mostly Amy Robinson, created a survey for you discussing your record formats and your storage capacity, where we at IARA are always trying to improve our processes and help you as best we can. So this survey will tell us what sort of records your offices are collecting, the amount of storage space you might have or the storage space you might need, and then the different types of format conversions that you might also need. So feel free to fill out the survey. I've got a link there. If you click it, it'll take you straight to the survey. Not very long. So feel free to keep filling those out. All right, so for this month, the July's topics of the month, I kind of did a variety of topics that people have asked me, mostly in June. So one question that comes up a lot, and it's mostly with clerks and recorders because you all deal with court records, but what is a court record, or how do I know that I have a court record? And the definition I have here, a court record is any legal record created by a court or court agency, such as a probation department, and covered by a retention schedule in Administrative Rule 7 is considered a court record. IARA does not have jurisdiction over court records, so if you do have court records and you need to know their retention, you would contact Mr. Tom Jones. He's with the Indiana Judiciary. He's basically my counterpart over there. He's very knowledgeable, very friendly, very prompt. So if you email him at tom.jones@courts.in.gov. He'll get back to you right away. And if for some reason you can't get a hold of him, let me know, and I'll make sure to get in touch with him for you. So court records are handled by the Indiana Judiciary, not IARA. So just be aware of that. And then I did have this question come up, which I thought was a pretty good question. Can I get rid of personnel files if, can I get rid of a personnel file if that person is deceased? So personnel files are covered on the County Local General Retention Schedule under the record series Gen 10-27. And the basic answer to that is no. You must keep the personnel file according to Gen 10-27, which you'll see a description here of what constitute a personnel file. And the retention period says destroy 75 years after employee is no longer employed with your county local government unit. So if the employee worked up until 2020 and that person died this year, you would need to keep the record for 75 years past 2020. So that would be 2095 if I am not horrible at math. But anyway, so yeah, you would have to keep that for the 75 years after they no longer work for you, even though they may be deceased in that time period. I have received a few notices of destruction earlier this summer for personnel files from 1946. So there is, you will at some point be able to destroy these, but it will be a very long time. So just wanted to let you all know about the personnel files. And then lastly, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what we do to create and revise retention schedules. I probably have mentioned before that there is a handbook that I use a lot that we have created for you as records custodians at the county local level. So it's called the Indiana County Local Records Custodian Handbook. And if you go down to page 14, there's a section about creating and revising retention schedules and what we do. So our first step is to research the different types of records that your office creates or receives. So I do get a lot of questions and concerns from offices, and I will keep those in an Excel file. So it's considered kind of my research as to what records you all are asking about, what records you're creating that may need to be on a retention schedule. And then we also have a discussion with local office holders and staff. So we will sometimes create task force with local agencies or staff members to get more input on what sort of records you're creating. So that's what we've done for, let's get back, for the school schedule or the educational institutions retention schedule. We call it the school schedule for short. And what we did earlier this year, we created a task force it's a bunch of different school K through 12 professionals, some principals, some lawyers, some teachers, different people that deal with schools on a regular basis. And so we've been meeting once a month to update that schedule. And then we've also done that with county health departments. So we're creating an entirely new schedule for county health departments. So we actually just met yesterday, so there is a task force for that, and we're working to create that schedule as well. So once we're done with reviewing the retention schedule and updating it, we will send a draft to our IARA's administrative team for them to review and make sure everything looks good on our end. And then we'll actually send it, the final draft will be submitted to our Oversight Committee on Public Records. So they're basically our governing board, and they approve the retention schedules that we create for you all. So if everything looks good, it goes to the OCPR, and once that's approved, then it's done, then it's ready, and we'll put it on the websites, we'll disperse it to you at the county level. And so that's just a little bit of how we create and revise retention schedules. There are a few other retention schedules that we are going to look at this year and hopefully revise and create. These are two of the other retention schedules we're going to do that. So we're going to revise the county local general schedule, and then we are also going to create a retention schedule for county surveyors. So I'm putting a task force together for that, and hopefully we're going to start working on both of those in the fall. All right, let's see if I had anything else. Last thing, yeah, I think that's it for me. That's all I was going to mention. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about anything that I brought up? Or anything in general that you're dealing with in your offices related to records?
Amy, this is Tammy Hines from Bartholomew County Recorder's Office. And I was wondering, you mentioned the personnel paperwork, like timesheets and everything. If the auditor keeps all that record, the service record and the timesheets and the payroll and everything, are we required also to keep all those for 75 years? Both offices?
So you mentioned timesheets. What other records are you talking about?
Just the timesheet, the service record, like the that is created to show when they took a day off, and then payroll.
Okay.
Payroll separate, so just timesheet.
Okay. Yeah, so timesheets actually, let me pull up the general schedule.
Yeah.
So timesheets actually won't fall under the personnel files. They will fall under Gen 1011. You'll see in the paragraph time cards. So timesheets, you don't have to keep 75 years. You just keep them. You can destroy them after 10 years and after an audit. So, okay. And then service records, it depends. I would probably need a little more information on the service record because payroll records have two different record series you can use. So you'll see this payroll records Gen 1016 down here. It only applies to these three specific forms, the 99A, 99B, and 99C, or their equivalents, which are, and I may do this for next month. I may talk about these three forms in more depth, but it's the weekly service record, the employees.
Like a monthly or weekly.
Monthly, yeah. So those are permanent, but any other payroll records that you have that aren't the equivalent of those forms, they would go under Gen 1011 here. So you'll see payroll records not covered under record series Gen 1016. So yeah, that's a good question, and I think I'll cover payroll records in my next chat. Yeah, good question. And if any of you are not sure whether or not the payroll records are the equivalent of these three forms, or if you aren't sure what record series they go on, just let me know and I can help you out.
Hey, Amy, this is Chandler. I don't know if you see you have two hands up.
I do
Russell
not.
Hollis. Russell, if you want to go ahead and ask your question, and then Tammy.
Russell, let me see if I can unmute you. Are you there?
Russell, I think you're still muted from your side.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to change my mic settings. So I still have a question about the notice of destruction, the new notice of destruction form. When an agency submits that form to the county commission, I guess my question really is what is the next step? Does the county commission have to review it in its meeting, or just simply look at it and send an email to the submitter saying, yeah, it's completed correctly, go ahead and destroy?
Yeah, let me walk through the notice of destruction form.
Okay.
So when you send the notice of destruction form to your county commission, the form should be completed in its entirety and you have already destroyed your records. So if we follow the instructions here, you'll see it says complete all contact and record series information fields. So that's these first two sections. Contact information's pretty easy. Just make sure the telephone number and email address are up to date. And then the record series information down here. So let's say you have timesheets that you want to destroy. And since we just went over that, we know that timesheets are on Gen 1011, and you can destroy them after 10 years and after an audit. So you can put timesheets here. You can also put the title of the record series if you want. So if you want to write basic accounting records expenditures, you can. If you want to write timesheets, whatever you want to. So let's say you have timesheets from 2000 to 2010. So we know it's been at least 10 years, and we'll say that you've also had an audit. So your date ranges are good. You'll put in the record series number, you'll put Gen, and I guess I could be typing this out so that you can see it. You'll put Gen 1011. And then you'll put the volume. It really, you don't have to be super precise if it's 2 folders, if it's 5 boxes, whatever the basic amount you have. So that's instruction number 1. If you don't know your record series, so if you didn't know where timesheets were, you can always contact me. So that's basically what it's saying, contact me. And then if you've contacted me and I can't find your record on a retention schedule either, that means you'll need to fill out the PR1 instead. So we're not going to worry about the PR1 right now. So anyway, you move on to number 2. You destroy records in accordance with the record series number and then complete the destruction information fields. So you've typed in timesheets, you put your date range, you've looked at your record series. We know that it's been 10 years and you've had an audit, so everything looks good there. You can destroy your records right away. So you no longer have to submit the form to IARA and wait the 30 days for approval. So like you wouldn't have to wait at all. You can destroy them the same day if you wanted to. And you'd complete the destruction information. So you would sign it, sign and date, and then you'd, in case the date you destroy the records is different from the day you sign it, you would put a different date. So once all of that is complete, once you've destroyed the records and completed that bottom section, the form is complete. And that's when we move on to number 3, where you send 1 copy to the secretary of your county commission. And they don't do anything with the notices of destruction except include them in their meeting minutes at the next meeting. So they don't approve notices of destruction. It's basically so that they file them for the minutes. And then you will retain a copy of this form in your records. And I can show you too far. So here's the record series. So these notices of destruction forms that you keep are kept according to Gen 20-01. So this is documentation of public records disposition. So you'll see here's that state form 44905. So you keep this permanently in your office so that you have record of what you have destroyed in the past. You can keep that in paper if you printed it off. If it's electronic, you can keep it electronic. It would be best if you kept them in maybe both forms, whatever works. But yeah, so when you send it to the county commission, it'll be completed, the records will be destroyed. But if you're ever concerned that you're going to destroy records you shouldn't be destroying, just reach out to me and I can double check for you. But I hope that answered your question. That does. Okay, good. So yeah, the big change is you no longer have to get approved and you no longer have to wait 30 days for destruction. So, all right, good question. And then Tammy, was your hand up from the question before about timesheets? I think so.
Right, I'm done. Sorry. Thanks.
You're good.
Amy, you have a question in the chat from Georgia Jones.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I've not been able to find Form 99A, 99B, 96 to understand the information. Where are those located? Okay, you might not necessarily have them.
I just put the link in the chat, Amy.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, good.
It's in the list of State Board of Accounts prescribed forms. So they're not state forms, they are just forms that State Board of Accounts has said local offices must use. And they give an example of the forms. So page A33, A35, and A37.
Yeah, so 99A, 99B, 99C are these forms that looks like they were mostly created in the 1980s and 90s, but whatever the equivalent would be, so employees service record, employees earnings record, and employees weekly earnings records are the ones you have to keep permanently. And if you are ever not sure if you have the equivalent, you could always send me an example and we can determine if they fall under that payroll records permanent record series or if they fall under the Gen 1011 that you have to keep for 10 years and after an audit. And this question does come up a lot, so I think Amy and I probably get together and write up something about this to talk about next time. Pages. Amy, does it show what the state forms are? Or the, not state forms, but the... Oh, it does have samples. Okay. Let's see if I can...
Sorry. Hey, Amy, If you go back up, scroll back up to the table of contents and just click the next to it.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what it'll look like if you do have it.
So A, B, and C are right in a row with blank pages between them for some reason.
And I've seen these on like in those big volumes. I can't even describe them. But yeah, it looks like they were mostly from the 80s and 90s. All right, any other questions? All right, well, our next chat will be on Wednesday, August 31st at 11 a.m. And if you ever have any questions before then, there's my 2 emails that I check regularly and my work cell number. Please leave me a voicemail if I don't answer. That way I can know who called me. And yeah, thank you so much for attending and for the great questions. And if nobody has anything else, I will end the meeting with that. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, this was helpful.